Hello and welcome to another game of SDL. This is a godlike game between Indiana Jones, the well-known little, he has the whip that he's able to get his artifacts with, and the other team being Labyrinth. So, man, we're looking for a good game here. Already some good bands coming out. Freya, Thor, Soul, Olorun. Mage ADC's a very typical band right now. Sorry, I'm joined by KingFsher as my chair too, and he's about to tell you a little bit about the situation with Mage ADCs.
Yeah, I mean, they are pretty much busted this season. We've seen them on the rise all throughout the earlier scouting grounds, as well as just casual and ranked. The itemization feels good, and they didn't get any substantial nerfs in the last bonus update, so should still see a lot of them at play. And then Thor and Neja, two junglers that we've seen a lot of. Really happy to see these bans, but I can't help but notice Fenrir still on the table, who's looked like by far and away one of the strongest gods of the new season.
Oh, the other person that's open is Ao Kwong, not a mage ADC, but kind of plays like one and sometimes will build like one with a lot of lifesteal, such as the new item or the new and improved Telkahin's ring, which allows for these mage ADCs to lifesteal a ton and sustain for a very long time. I'm excited to see this Ao Kwong in this game.
Yeah, definitely should be interesting. And I think, like you said, he almost functions like a mage ADC, so it's going to really open the rest of the draft up to Labyrinth. Having that character in the jungle means they're going to get a little bit more leeway with their ADC in mid. You can definitely see some spicier picks. If we remember the premium division back in season 1, they brought out weird god picks all the time. They looked proficient on just about everything. So definitely going to keep them guessing. But a Hebo and a Sylvanas, that's a really good response from Indiana Jones.
An even better response coming again from Labyrinth. I mean, a Fenrir, Ao Kwong, two gods you probably don't want to see next to each other in your ranked games. But you got to keep in mind, this is the godlike division. This is the best of the best that we have in the SDL sometimes. So these players are very proficient on these gods.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see. But that begs a question. If it is a Fenrir and an Ao Kuang, would you expect to see something weird maybe in Ao Kuang's solo lane? I don't think Fenrir's normally played in the solo like he was a while ago. And Vimana too, so I officially have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, I think we're going to be okay being ignorant to what's going to happen here. We're just going to have to take a big guess at where they're going to be in lane. But it really doesn't matter at the end of the day because these gods, whether they're how they do in the laning phase, Ao Kwong, if he can get to that 20 to 30 to however long this game goes, if he can get to that point, he's almost unstoppable. Same goes for Fenrir. Obviously, Vimana going into Big Baby now, getting a lot of shields. You want to get an Ankh still because it does deplete his shield. But how do you feel like the Vimana works with the Ao Kwong and the Fenrir?
I don't think it synergizes completely with them. All the ultimates so far seem very individual, except for Fenrir's, obviously. But that being said, the team dynamic, it's very aggressive. Once they get to a certain point in the game, there's going to be no stopping that team comp. So it's going to be really interesting to see how Indiana Jones responds. And they're hovering the Kakulin. I like that. It's a lot more traditional solo laner, a lot tankier. I think expecting that Vimana maybe now is going to go to the solo lane should be a pretty good matchup, but I think seeing the bands come out from Indiana Jones is really going to tell us about where they think Labyrinth are taking these picks.
Yeah, Labyrinth really needs to get some good picks in here as well to help support this Ao Kwong, who has been obviously very dominant in previous seasons, but now in this season especially very dominant. Kakolin, you were commenting on that. Kakolin versus Vamana. That's an unusual matchup in my opinion. You have a Kakolin that's going to be putting out damage from level 1 to level 20. Vamana takes a little bit to turn on. He takes a little bit, especially with Bluestone how Bluestone is right now. If you can get to that Brooch, you're a very dangerous person. He may not even go Brooch. We don't know what he's going to build. He may go Death's Toll. He may go other things. But once again, we have Kronos and Merlin on the bans right here. Kronos, another magical ADC that's very scary in the current meta. And Merlin, just a very typical mid laner that can create a lot of chaos.
Yeah, and seeing that Merlin ban as well makes me think that Labyrinth believe that Indiana Jones has taken that Hebo to the jungle, which we've seen Hebo in the jungle a lot, but I believe their junglers, Hebo was taken. Didn't see a ton of main jungles from him last season. He really likes our traditional kind of run it down assassins, just full W key, so I'd be surprised if that's what they go with, but it has been a few months, definitely had time to expand that god pool. And an Agni ban as well, another pick that's seen a lot of new play lately. I think by seeing those backliners, they think that Labyrinth still haven't locked in their backline. So maybe could even see something as wild as a Fenrir support.
Yeah, and I think that Labyrinth actually might have caught on a little bit to what you were just saying because they just banned the Mercury as well. They don't know where that Hebo's going. They said it's either going to be jungler or mid, but they banned both of them and said we're going to ban out Ibba, who you said was a very direct jungler, and Mercury is a very direct and attacky type of jungle.
Yeah, and I think that is the good plan. I mean, if nothing else, banning out a player like Mercury, who's seen a lot of success lately, might even force to take, or might force Ibba rather to take that Hebo into the jungle, something they weren't prepared for. So definitely picks and bans coming into play in a Poseidon. Now, do you think that's going to be mid or ADC? Can definitely see arguments for both. He's kind of a mage that does good all around the map.
Let's go ahead and start putting bets on the table, man, because this could go anywhere. We could have a Sylvanas ADC and a Colin support at this point, because of how many different options this team has. We have Hebo could go anywhere on the map, basically. He could, and he would still be dominant by the point in which he gets his crushing wave, because it's such a scary ultimate. But Cleo and Chang'e being hovered here, Chang'e, in my opinion, is a great answer to what the entirety of Indiana Jones is bringing to the table.
Definitely is, and seeing this Kleena makes me think it's maybe gonna be a Kleena ADC. We have seen some assassins play over there. I think Kleena and Set really come to mind as the two best. I still wouldn't put anything out of reach, though. It's gonna be interesting to see how they respond here from Indiana Jones, because I mean, let's face it, this is not a normal team comp. We got no idea where they're going, what they're gonna be doing. And you gotta wonder where this plays into Indiana Jones' mental. Are they gonna try to counter it? Are they gonna pick something that completes their own draft better and just kind of hope to figure it out as it goes?
Well, Pele looks to be the hover right now, and that would be another physical god that they drastically need right now. That would be their second physical god. Usually in my Reigns games, I'm finding the lack of magical gods to play, but in this game, they were almost running out of physical gods to be playing because of how strong mages are right now, as we had commented on the first part of this game. As far as comp goes here, Fisher, I mean, both teams obviously have very strong late games, but who do you feel like can get there better?
I feel like Indiana Jones is going to have a better transition, but they can't let Labyrinth get to that point. The entire draft is run it down, so any lead could be a fatal one. That's going to be enough for us here in the booth. We're going to join you back in game number 1 to see who's able to get the upper hand.
Hello and welcome back to this great match between Indiana Jones and our good friends, the Labyrinth. We have a great matchup here. We now see kind of where these roles are going. Fenrir support, Cleo ADC on the side of Labyrinth, and then Chang'e mid, and Ao Kuang jungle, and then Vamana solo. How do you feel about that?
I felt really good about everything until Cleaning used their purification beads on the camp. You gotta think that's a misclick. Was probably trying to go for that claw shard, which we saw Wecci do on the other side. And Indiana Jones has a start. But yeah, I think we called it pretty well on the desk in terms of the way these roles are spread out. I'm still thinking though, Labyrinth gonna have an easy time, and First Blood goes to EmojiDaddy in the mid lane. What a start for Indiana Jones.
Yeah, EmojiDaddy really telling him, I am your daddy. Really great kill coming from him. 1-0 with a contagion start coming out from the Hebo mid lane. Also, we didn't really know exactly what was going on the side of Indiana Jones, but Hebo mid, Pele jungle, Kukulin solo, Poseidon ADC, and Sylvanas support. Really strong locations for all of these gods, and obviously great pick there coming from EmojiDaddy.
Yeah, and I think, like you said, I like all the gods where they placed them. The only concern that kind of comes into my mind is how the team is going to flow together. None of these picks, I think, maybe besides for the Sylvanas Poseidon, really kind of feel together. It seems like it's going to be pretty individual on play. IbbaWasTaken looking to gank. Is he going to get the dash in?
Ibba will get that dash not exactly in just right now, but he will get not the kill for Ibba, but for a Poseidon ADC, and Teddy will get a pick on EmojiDaddy, come back and say, nah, you're not daddy, I am actually daddy. So a big pick coming out for Indiana Jones. They really needed those two picks because of the first blood in the mid lane. Ao Kuang, don't want to let him get any more kills, because if he does keep getting more kills, he will scale very quickly. Once he gets that execute, not an easy guy to play against.
Definitely not. And a lot of burst damage coming really, really quickly from him that you wouldn't expect. But luckily, now Indiana Jones with a few kills, they do find themselves a bit of leeway. But like you said, Pele got the assist, so behind to the Al Kwong, who's lurking over here and right. Snoozism though has pretty high health. It's gonna be a rough gank, and Wisely I think just gonna stay away from it.
Yeah, Teddy needs to go ahead and back here. Go ahead and purchase up from his good first blood in the mid lane. Wait, no. Was he first blood? No, who was first blood? Hebo was first blood. So Hebo, look at their builds, by the way. We have a Contagion with a Book of Thoth coming build coming from our Hebo in mid. And then we have an Eye of the Jungle. Do you think that's going to go also into a Book of Thoth for our Kwang friend?
Uh, I would have to expect so. I think there's definitely some other books that are good on Al Kwang. Poly especially comes to mind. Just so much burst damage from a mage that's already really up in your face and hard to get away from. But given that it's this early, I definitely think Book of Thoth is the right way to go. Zoats barely misses a Sylvanas grab. I used to seeing that from him, was a really consistent performer last season. Probably hoping to continue that reign into this new one.
Yeah, they would probably love to pull that, literally pull that from last season and be able to do that here as well. But also, just a little more back to builds. Vampiric Shroud. That's an item I don't see very often on a mid laner. Sorry, on an ADC especially. Looks like he's going to Bancroft's Talon. Is that a wise choice, or should he have gone Sands of Time?
I definitely like the Bancroft's Talon, first off, but Vampiric Shroud, I think it's pretty specific to Poseidon. He has some crazy sustain if you're able to build him right. Probably looking to build into that. Speaking of, there's Kraken, but leap away from Leslord keeps him safe. So now no ultimates for this Indiana Jones duo lane. That's opened the door for Teddy to start rotating over. Gonna see what the Ao Kwang can do here.
Labyrinth should hit level 5 as well on this side of the map. Cleodana with a great ultimate, and here comes Teddy looking for a big hit onto the ADC Poseidon, and they will be able to secure the kill immediately. A first kill in this big lane that was a Kraken miss, but now he's going to punish Zoats as well. Zoats will go down to that execute I had just commented about a couple seconds ago. There you go. There's the Ao Kwang execute that I was just talking about, and it's very scary, especially once he hits that level 5, almost scarier than a Kraken.
Yeah, and that's exactly the response we needed to see from Labyrinth. We've talked about how that draft might have some trouble getting off the ground, but definitely doesn't seem to be the case so far. I was a little bit surprised Wecci didn't beat Zepheneral, maybe probably correctly guessing wouldn't be able to get away from the Al Kwang, so maybe could have saved his life, but I do like that play, because without Kraken, it's going to allow him to play a lot more perspective, or aggressive into Perspective Duck, and a clean ADC is scary to play against. There's no way to get around that.
No way at all. But Wecci has a good answer for this Ao Kwang later into the game. But speaking of Wecci not being in his mid lane, but the big old Fenrir looking for a now rotated Sylvanas, who is in mid lane, trying to create some pressure for his mid laner. But we have a Fenrir support here, and he goes Prophetic Cloak first item. Is that the correct item, or would you rather have a Gauntlet of Thebes?
I think traditionally, Gauntlet of Thebes always seems like a better item to me, but given it's on somebody like the Fenrir, he's going to be able to stack that really well and really quickly. The leaps from Fenrir are so easy to get aggression, and if he does get that damage mitigation late game, it's going to combine great with his Ragnarok, can kind of tend to take a lot of unintended damage when he ults, so that should help. Speaking of unintended damage, Perspective Duck takes a lot more than he bargained for, and he forced to back here in duo lane.
You know, you gotta hate gods like Poseidon that just don't make you able to do anything with your dashes. And Cleo, one of her most strong abilities is that dash. And so if he can land that whirlpool and then a good Kraken, or a whirlpool and a good tidal wave, whatever it be. Oh wow, Ragnarok gonna come out here from Fenrir and put him right to an Ao Kwang with a big Dragon's Call. Will be able to land the stun with his jump, and now in execute threshold is Zoats once again. But Poseidon is gonna go ahead and rotate into this fight. Using ultimate is Chang'e, trying to secure another kill is the Ao Kwang by landing onto Poseidon, and they will end up securing that kill. Pele will miss the ult and leave her EmojiDaddy to die by himself. And Ibba trying to get out of this fight now, considering the fact that there were 4 people from Labyrinth on this side of the map, and Ibba gonna go ahead and retreat back to the duo lane. It's too bad, really too bad that she missed the ultimate there. That's what displaced her from this fight. But now there is a 7-minute call for a Gold Fury. Labyrinth's gonna go ahead and pull it here. Will they be able to secure it? Because there is a Pele here. Labyrinth will secure it. Yeah, so you have 4 people on the fire on the Gold Fury. They're able to secure it, no problem. Really easy, really well called. But now people are respawning back up, and they're gonna try to catch Teddy a little bit off of his back. You can't just back there, buddy. So really well fought there. But what do you think in that fight made that happen? That fight happen?
I think honestly just the timing from Labyrinth, that Ao Kuang showing up first and being able to burst down Zoats. So speaking of burst down, Perspective Duck in danger again. Tries to get the dash away. Gonna avoid the ability. No.
No.
Crushing Wave gets a kill.
Yeah, really good crushing wave from Poseidon there. But yeah, I think you're correct that the positioning of Labyrinth, they were prepared for that fight, and they also assisted their Ao Kuang Teddy 522, who is currently, I mean, Daddy's not looking, EmojiDaddy's not looking to EmojiDaddy. He's currently standing at 1 and 2 and has fallen sadly to Ao Kuang twice.
For what it's worth, EmojiDaddy still getting the damage off. Now, Wecci's going to be the target again. Is this going to be a third death for the Poseidon? No, good ult from Sylvanas might save him. Beads might, and nothing will eventually. Wecci falls. They going to look for Zoats on the follow-up? They will.
Yeah, Zoats has no mana, but he will be able to walk out here. Really good rotations coming out from Teddy. He is currently standing as the strong player on Labyrinth, standing at 6-0 with a stacked Book of Thoth. I mean, player damage-wise, he's putting out 5,000 damage, more than double than anyone else on this map, maybe besides IbbaWasTaken, who I was just talking about, and the Poseidon, who have landed some really good ultimates.
Yeah, I mean, the Ao Kuang's doing great. That's exactly the start that Labyrinth needed, especially on a character that's so late-game focused. The early game can often slide away, as now Ibba engages onto Vamana, pops the ult, and going to be able to walk away. Good defensive ultimate there from BeanSoupBob, and that is a fun name to say.
Colossal Fury going to be used by Vamana there, but guess who's standing here? The menace himself, Teddy522, says, I dare you to rotate out of this soul lane. And actually, they don't want to rotate. They said, you use Colossal Fury, we're going to go ahead and try to kill you, and they will be able to secure the kill. Ibba will catch Vamana out of nowhere. Bob gone, but Ao Kuang says, I can take you guys both on 1v2, and he will capture Ibba. Ibba will go down with a quick death thanks to Ao Kuang's big old Wildstorm. Crushing Wave going to be used by IbbaWasTaken here, will land onto Chang'e, and Chang'e is running for her life, but she doesn't need to run thanks to a really great support out of Fenrir. Will get the kill onto EmojiDaddy. EmojiDaddy will now go to 1 and 3. Fenrir says, I'm not done just yet, but you're a Sylvanas, so you can heal forever. Really good fight coming out from the soul lane and from the mid lane for Labyrinth.
Yeah, Labyrinth all over the map are just looking strong, and we see the beads expended from Sylvanas. Probably a pretty smart call going beads first relic. It's not popular, but against that Fenrir, 100% needed it, so I like that call from Zoats. But now, the question's always, for me, it's been that way in Season 1, and I think it's going to continue into Season 2. What are you able to do with the lead? It seems like there's a lot less farm on the map than there was last year, so the question for me goes, are they going to be focused on kills, or are they going to go for objectives? Pyromancer's now, and Gold Fury's coming up soon. Where do you think Labyrinth can go on the map to keep this league going?
Yeah, I want to think about it, you know, as a player sometimes, that you whenever that objective come up, that we're all going to be there and we're all going to be great and no one's going to die. But in these types of games, man, especially with Teddy being, I believe, 7-0 right now, or 6-0, 7-0 right now, I think objectives become a question. They're going to be more about the fights. They're going to happen at those objectives. So if Teddy can find himself and Labyrinth can find himself at an objective, I think they win these team fights right now in a demolishing way. Like, they just absolutely blow them up. But whoever gets those objectives, oh, what a pull from Zoats, pulling through the support, the Fenrir. I don't think that's who he really wanted. He was like, oh, I'm sorry, excuse me, my bad. Didn't want to see you here. But if they can win those team fights at those objectives, then that will bring a little more, I don't know, comfort to their late game, as you're talking about. But bring that in. Contagion is back into the game as of the last 4 days. They patched it, and it's now back in, and we can see that on the Kokolin. Is that something that is a good item to be buying in this game, do you think? I personally do think it is.
I still think it is. I mean, Contagion before the patch was absolutely broken. It's not that way, but it's still good. Ibba was taken, gonna be taken straight to the grave. Teddy gets his 8th kill of the game. Pele caught lacking, and now they're gonna turn their attention to the objective. They're going for Gold Fury, but Poseidon has Kraken. This is not a secure thing. They need to be really careful of Wecci there in the left lane.
Tearing the Veil is also up for Cleodana. She's probably got 2 of them, and they're not, as I said, this is not objective. This is a fight they want. Colossal Fury will come out from BeanSoupBob, the fun name to say, and Hebo. basically just out of this fight at this point. Kraken will come out, will land straight onto Leslord on the Fenrir, and will secure the kill thanks to the rotation from Arcacolin in the solo lane. Vamana, no Colossal Fury, but boxing out the support Sylvanas. And Kakolin is still standing around here. We have 4 standing on the side of Labyrinth and 5 standing on the side of Indiana Jones. Kakolin looking to play aggressively in the top left-hand side of the map while the rest of Indiana Jones flocks to his side.
Yeah, this might be one of the few opportunities for Indiana Jones to really take advantage of not only a man advantage, but the ult advantage. The ultimate from Sylvanas can be so impactful in these big objective team fights where everybody's grouped up together. Definitely can combo really well with EmojiDaddy to do some insane damage. But Teddy's still close, the whole team is still close, and Teddy gets a 9th kill. Divine in the scouting grounds. But now they might have caught somebody out. Oh, and indeed they did. Icon 03 gonna fall. Indiana Jones still looking strong here. How far are they gonna chase it?
They're going to chase it pretty far. Here comes out Ragnarok from Fenrir, and Zoats finds himself into a very uncomfortable position with a Colossal Fury coming back out again, just used 30 seconds ago, it feels like. But will it save his own life? It will not, but also it will get a trade for his teammate. The Cleodana will secure a kill onto Zoats. Running away right now is the Kakolin from the very dangerous and very, harmful Ao Kuang. But Wecci just walks into the Ao Kuang saying, why don't I just go ahead and box you? I can take you on, but he really can't. No beads up for Wecci right there, it seems, to be able to get out of Teddy's hands. I think the story of this game right now is 100% just Teddy just going in and 1v3ing people. It feels like there's no threat to him. Is there any way for Indiana Jones to put a large threat onto him?
I think there needs to be more counter initiation. Every time Teddy seemed to be diving, there's been no help from supports, no help from solo laners. Indiana Jones looks a little bit scattered on the backside, but I think as they keep going up in levels, it's going to look a lot better for them. They're going to be more confident about their ability to group, and especially with items like the Contagion and the Lotus Crown Sylvanas has, there's going to be a lot more damage onto Teddy while staying a lot tankier. So the later this game goes, I think the less of an impact Ao Kuang is going to have, but it might already be too late. I mean, he is running away with the competition.
This is why Ao Kuang is banned in most every single other match that we've seen in the SDL, is because he is so scary and can create a lot of chaos from minute 1 to minute 20. A lot of guys can do that, but Ao Kuang does it in a special way because he can also sustain himself throughout the entire time. He's a very good lifesteal god, and so that's probably how we're going to see Teddy continue to build this god. Obviously, we saw the Lotus Sickle. And I'm glad you commented on that because it is a really cool item. It's a new item in this game because it used to be, what was it, Lotus Shield?
Lotus Crown.
Or Lotus Crown, yeah, a little bit different. And it has a little bit of adjusted kit here. We have 25 physical protection, 300 health, cooldown reduction. But the big thing is that any god affected by it get more protections, which is kind of like a stack. Oh, well, there's Teddy going over to the soul lane and getting a kill onto Snoozism. He is unstoppable right now. Just,
Yeah, absolutely. And the answer has to be to slow him down. I will say, the one thing that's looking very positive for Indiana Jones right now, it's a gold difference. Labyrinth has been about 3,000 gold up, but they've been that way for, 5, almost 10 minutes. They're really not making much more of a lead than they have, and they're going to need to soon. Wecci cracking himself, trying to keep Perspective Duck away. EmojiDaddy pulls to BeanSoupBob, and it's 4 men from Labyrinth in the mid lane. Going to Pyro 2, Perspective Duck in trouble.
Ooh, will I be able to land it? No, yeah. Not going to be able to get away. But Labyrinth does say, okay, you're going to kill our ADC. Doesn't really matter. We'll go ahead and take Pyromancer, as well as the big thing I always like to comment on, which is that Pyromancer bomb that sells for 33 gold. Let's go, dude. Who wants to sell that for 33 gold?
I would much rather have 33 gold than 1,000 true damage any day of the week. But yeah, I mean, and especially that Pyro Bomb might be a lot more relevant this game. When we look at Labyrinth's team, they don't have a ton of good secure tools. Oh, but Icon dropping in the mid lane can be able to get away from Ibba. Ibba now starting to appear a lot more around the map. There's a Pele. Can they get the kill?
Yes, they will actually get that kill pretty easily, and Teddy will come in and do what he does, which is dominate on the left-hand side of the map by himself. Which means they get 1 kill in mid and 1 kill in left thanks to the group up from Labyrinth. They're grouping up a lot better, it feels like, than Indiana Jones. For example, before that Gold Fury happened, they already got the pick in mid because they were grouped as 4, while I think someone was still in solo lane on the side of Indiana Jones. Do you think this grouping is what might be causing them to have a lot of issues?
Yeah, I think not only the grouping, but just where they're catching them out. Indiana Jones are a little bit too confident right now. I mean, they've been getting picked off one by one in the jungle, and as long as that keeps happening, they're going to have no objective pressure. Now working on the Fire Giant. Like I said earlier, they don't have too much secure, but they have that Pyro Bomb. Should be more than enough to compete with the Kraken. But now Leslord in the back, trying to aggress onto Spoon. There's a Fenrir roll. Is this going to start the fight? Labyrinth wants to, being a little hesitant though. There it goes.
Really big ultimate coming from Icon and will land the kill. Perspective Duck gets the kill onto Zoats, and Colossal Fury will come out. They will get the trade onto Perspective Duck. Execute range is the Poseidon on Wecci, but Teddy is not in range to be able to get that execute as of yet. But guess who is? A big Changa Waxing Moon will land the kill. We have 4 standing for Labyrinth and only 2 standing on the side of Indiana Jones, with Zoats coming up in less than 5 seconds. Another fight for Labyrinth that just goes directly in their way, and it looks like the last 4 players that are standing have really good health and probably could pull this Fire Giant. The only person in range right now is Snoozism on the Kokolin.
Yeah, they should be able to hold it long enough for Perspective Duck to get the buff too. I do gotta call attention to one member we haven't been talking about. That's Lycon on the Chonga. I mean, did incredible in that last fight with a great engage. Speaking of engage, Teddy gets his 13th, finally shut down, but they got the commendation. It's all that matters.
Yeah, you probably don't want to give that to Poseidon though, man. That guy was 4 and 6 and was kind of a little bit behind, and one of the reasons you probably were winning this game. But now that was a lot of gold and probably a lot of XP going his way. Might want to be a little afraid of him now in the future when you're running into a Poseidon.
Definitely would be, and now Lycon in danger under the tier 1 tower. Hebo gets a big burst of damage. Indiana Jones fighting back, and the Oni Fury's up. This is the time to go for this. Teddy's still down for 13 more seconds. They can burst it with that Poseidon, but he's dead. So what do they do now?
Whoever goes for Oni Fury, do you just go? Does the other team just go to the opposite side and go for the Fire Giant? Like, what happens here? How do you play this dynamic? If you're Indiana Jones, I would either go to Fire Giant or Gold, but you might have to send one person over to the other buff, the other objective. You know?
I mean, we saw last fight, Labyrinth tried to start the Fire Giant. They were on it for well over 10 seconds, didn't even get it down to half HP. The lack of a traditional ADC from both these teams means that sieging towers, sieging objectives, it's going to be a lot slower. I don't think either team can really afford to split themselves if they want to secure one. Now, Oni Fury under half. Here comes a whole team, though. Vamana could be the first one in, and Fury's dropped.
Yeah, half health already on the Fury, but we have all of Labyrinth surrounding the entirety of the 5-man from Indiana Jones. Ragnarok going to be able to pick up Zoats, but Zoats is already dead. No chance for him. Kraken will land onto the opposing support in the Fenrir. Really good ultimate coming from Ragnarok and the Fenrir there. Pulling the Sylvanas, this makes it a quick 5v4, but because Fenrir has to back, it's still a 4v4, and 2 people still standing all the way in the front of the map for Labyrinth, even though their support is no longer there.
Yeah, and I think Indiana Jones now have the forefoot. We've said it a couple times throughout this set where they've had opportunities. This one could be their biggest. Teddy's still coming, though. I don't know if Oni Fury is the right call here.
Yeah, Colossal Fury is up right now. So if Vamana wants to go in there and go ahead and start to steal it, we have
in the back.
Yep, here it comes. Yeah, are they gonna be able to secure it? Indiana Jones will get the Oni Fury, but not for the punishment that is going to be Labyrinth on the back of their heads. Man, 2 going down, and obviously the Vamana still up there 2v1ing against Sylvanas and Kokolin. Gonna find himself a gray screen to look at for the next 42 seconds. I mean, 2 for 2 and Gold Fury going the way of Indiana Jones. That's exactly what Indiana Jones needed, and they dropped that gold difference from 4K that it's been for the past, literally since the game started, it felt like, to now only being about 2K.
Yeah, really good fight from Indiana Jones, and I think that's one of the first times we've seen almost a complete team fight. I think they still got a little scattered on the initial disengage, but 2 members came together to kill the diving Vamana. Ibba was able to take Lycon off the board. Definitely one of the few bright spots we've seen, but now how can they build off of it? Labyrinth are going to pick up the Pyromancer, but it's not the end of the world. You definitely don't need Pyro to do the Fire Giant. But on the flip side, Indiana Jones, they need to make sure they get that next objective and start sieging towers, because right now when we look across the map, Labyrinth don't have the advantage. Indiana Jones has minions push up in every lane. They have most tier 1 towers down. As misleading as it is, Indiana Jones is in a great spot in this game.
Yeah, this is very much so a neck and neck, and very much so it could go either way in these fights. You know, it could go one way or the other very quickly. And this Ao Kuang is becoming less and less, without saying a lack of better words, special. You know, it's not becoming as much of a threat to Indiana Jones. But guess what is a threat to this Chang'e right now is a Pele walking in and knocking her up immediately upon walking into the lane. But Chang'e says, I'm going to go ahead and walk away thanks to the fact that I can heal myself for almost my entire health bar in one ability.
Yeah, and I think we called that as it started. It's not necessarily that Teddy's getting worse off. I think he's still playing out of his mind. But Ao Kuang late game, there's a lot more to deal with it. Sure, it does a lot more damage. It's able to get in and get out a lot easier, but there's so much now on the side Indiana Jones designed to stop it. Pele's build is coming online. Hebo as well. This is one item we have not talked about a ton this season. It's a Tablet of Destinies. It's not a really popular item, I think for good reason. They were supposed to buff it, but did not end up doing so yet. Oh, Leslord, I don't know if that's engaged, loses half his HP. Fenrir, gonna fall.
Loses his entire life, but guess who's here to answer? Teddy might be their answer, but Hebo goes down to literally 3 health. Oh my goodness. That was absolutely crazy to watch. And now Labyrinth, down 2 people, Fire Giant up. Everyone else on Indiana Jones is healthy besides, just the guy who backed, EmojiDaddy with 4 health. But they're trying to get the trade back here, and they will get the kill onto Perspective Duck as well. Only 2 stand on the side of Labyrinth, and they are being surrounded in the mid lane as Sylvanas walks through the back and will land the ultimate onto Chang'e. Chang'e will land the ultimate right back onto Pele and Kukulkan, but did no damage to the Kukulkan. Only 1 stands for Labyrinth as 5 stand for Indiana Jones. And as we were just saying, this can change within 1 fight. And that was it. That now Labyrinth is 0 gold behind. They are tied, and they are dominating this map.
Yeah, and it's exactly a role reversal of what's been happening up until now. Indiana Jones, we've had concerns with their grouping all game. They group perfectly. They take down 4. I mean, Labyrinth, they've been playing a lot through Teddy. Unfortunately, unable to get that kill off. The Hebo stays alive and a massive damage source. One of the top 3 for Indiana Jones stays on the board. But again, we talked about this earlier. No traditional ADC. This Fire Giant is going down slowly, and Teddy's back. This is dangerous.
Teddy is back, and Labyrinth has 3 or 4 people here right now ready to take this fight
Great
on.
knock-up.
Really good knock-up coming out from our friend Kukulkan there, as well as, oh man, a kill onto Teddy was very quick, and a big ultimate coming out from our, Indiana Jones got it. Yes, I can see it around their waist right now. I was like, who got that Fire Giant? Because so much was going on. But Kraken was an attempt at, getting a kill, but I think it by accidentally also helped get a kill. Whoa. Okay, get another pick. Why don't we, Ibba's down. Gonna go ahead and get killed by our friend Chang'e and Lacan. They're the only 2 standing right now. Lacan and Cleodana on the Perspective Duck. Yeah.
I was gonna say, I'm not sure if I love that engage from the Pele. I mean, granted, Ibba's been playing very well all game, getting some solid damage off, especially onto Chang'e, who's not known as one of the more damage-heavy mages. But given that kind of benefit risk, I don't know if it's worth the risk of losing Fire Giant, which ultimately the Pele does. Now it's on only 3 members. It's still a great buff, but really would have liked to have it on the full team. And now Poseidon pulling Primal Fury. It's a 3-on-3. Indiana Jones might be overstepping.
Kraken is not up right now. All he has is Whirlpool and one other ability that might be able to secure this for him, but they go ahead and back off right now. Yeah, I think Indiana Jones needs to go ahead and back off, but that means that 3 full health members of Labyrinth are standing here. Now 5 members of Labyrinth are full health and standing here ready to take this Primal Fury and get some gold back on their side from this Fire Giant loss as well as that team fight loss.
Yeah, great call from both teams. I mean, Indiana Jones backed off exactly when they should have, and Labyrinth take advantage, get the Primal Fury. You still don't hate that if you're Indiana Jones. You're still up by about 1,000 and some change. And more than that, the map stay is worlds better. They have both towers down in mid, tier 2 standing in right and left. I mean, Labyrinth is going to have to do some work if they still want to take this game. Even though they did get that benefit right there, it's a tough road ahead.
It is a very tough road ahead. They're finding themselves slipping minute by minute due to the fact that this Hubwa is now in the game, and this Pele is now in the game, and this Poseidon is now here. And not only is he here, he's here in pretty dominating fashion, but Perspective Duck has found himself in one of the worst positions. But he is a Cleodana, which means if he can find a wall before all 4 of them get here, he might be able to get out, but he will not get out from a big Hubwa cannon right to his head. I mean, you got 4 people from Indiana Jones grouping up. You got 3 people from Labyrinth on the right-hand side of the map. This T2 tower is nothing but, being owned right now by Indiana Jones.
Yeah, and now we're gonna have to talk about something that outside of the first 10 minutes, didn't think we were gonna have to discuss all game, and that's defense for Labyrinth. When you look at this team comp, they are not a defensive heavy team.
No.
These Phoenixes are going to be extremely hard to defend. They're most likely going to be counting on a big Fenrir roll. IbbaWasTaken, killed by Teddy, now manages to back, but that's the opening for the Phoenix. Of all the rolls, Fenrir leaps in, gets the ult, Wecci should fall, and indeed the Poseidon will. Great opening from Labyrinth.
They really need to keep this going as well because now this is a 4v3 in their way. We have a Colossal Fury coming out, landing a big ultimate onto the Sylvanas, who is down to half health. Waxing Moon will land onto the whatever is that Waxing Moon the ultimate? Yeah, I believe it is.
Yes.
Will land onto the big old Sylvanas. He will go down 2 stand, but no 1 stands now for Teddy. I mean, just destroying these people, landing back down with Ao Kuang. Cocoon will blink away and get away from the remaining 3 chasing members of Labyrinth, and that is called a defense right there, KingFsher.
Yep, I mean, literally, right as I say it, they might struggle with the defense. They're going to need a big Fenrir roll. Sure enough, they get a big Fenrir roll, and they absolutely destroy on defense. And I love this approach now from Indiana Jones, getting that tier 2 tower down in mid. It's going to put a lot more pressure on the side of Indiana Jones. They're not going to be able to defend this Fire Giant as heavily, and they need to. It's only a minute and a half away from an enhanced Fire Giant. Do you think Labyrinth are going to wait and maybe try to bait out a fight? It's looked like that's what they've been doing all game, is focus on fights, but no, Fire Giant starting to fall. Under half HP. If I'm Indiana Jones, I don't think it's worth it to step up to this.
No, it's regular Fire Giant. Let them take it. I would honestly just let them take it. Yeah, I mean, you got your Cocoon now in a pretty bad position. No blink. He might be able to get picked here. Oh, Kraken, way off the mark, but was able to peel out the Cocoon. No threat going to his way. I think that Kraken obviously was just for peel potential. But also, it would have been cool if he would have landed over the wall and gotten a kill. Whew, that would have been disgusting.
It is cool seeing big squids go kill gods. And now, one thing, I mean, we've talked about the Pyromancer Bomb a few times already. They got 2 of them on the side of Labyrinth. And I know I've talked a lot about them lacking a traditional ADC and how it might hurt their takes, but they got 2,000 free true damage on any of the towers, any of the Phoenixes. Labyrinth is in a really good spot here for a counter push. They just need to be careful. There's a lot of utility still up for Indiana Jones. Like you mentioned, it's not an enhanced Fire Giant, but they have all their oh gosh, what's the word? Ultimates, holy cow. And nearly all of their relics too. I think Indiana Jones' team comp is going to be a lot stronger on the defense. Zoats and Snoozism especially can go absolutely massive if they're able to time their kits right.
If we want to take anything that they've done here, Labyrinth that being, as maybe a sign to the future of this game, is if you can put Teddy in their correct position to get a good fight here. Oni Fury being pulled by Labyrinth while I'm speaking about this, and they probably should be able to kill this no threat. Ibba is in the area to try to maybe secure it with a 1, but he will not secure it himself. So 5 people will be pushing down with Oni Fury waves into this left wave. They need to get down these tier 1s and tier 2s. But back to my point, we saw the fact that they were able to defend very well on that fight Labyrinth was. I think the reason they were able to defend so well was because obviously the Fenrir ultimate, but also the pick and right lane coming from Ao Kuang made that a quick 4v5 fight going in the way of Labyrinth. If they can do that again and give them...
What? Did they just... They tried to bomb their own ward. Unfortunately, that's not how it works. Leslord takes half his HP to the tier 2 tower. Okay, that's a little bit concerning. They do get it down eventually, though. You gotta think that's a misclick there from Perspective Duck. It's still really funny, though, and now Labyrinth, they definitely do have the forefoot. Indiana Jones have to be careful how they approach this. If I'm them, I'm just letting them sweep the towers, defend the Phoenixes, and worry about the Oni waves.
I mean, yeah, with... I think if Indiana Jones would have seen what just happened right there, well, they're going to get another... Okay, Cleo will get another chance here. She'll get another bomb. Maybe we put it on someone else? Yes. Okay. Okay, yeah. Perspective Duck really showed us right there how to properly play at this high level.
Poor Duck. I mean, granted, up until that, has been playing really good all game. I mean, the stat line doesn't really show it, but Kleina's been getting solid pressure, and especially going up against a Poseidon, who's a notoriously hard lane opponent, and now late game going to offer so much value. Expect to see Perspective Duck into the wall here to get some burst damage onto Wecci, it looks like. Yeah, it is going to be the target. Big stun from Fenrir.
Big stun. Beads having to be used by Wecci. Fenrir had to use. Now, did he use Ragnarok there? Did he try to get a god there with that? I don't think he did. Okay, Ragnarok was used, so that was what the beads was used for. But a player will go down due to Colossal Fury. Without a Kokolin, you only have one frontliner left on Indiana Jones, and that would be Zoats. He gets a big pull, but that pull will not be the correct person that you probably want to pull. Bird will go down on the right-hand side for Labyrinth. Labyrinth keeping the pressure up. Perspective Duck, who just used that bomb on the ward, will end up using it on, the bird, and actually will get a kill now on that bird. A really good opportunity here for Labyrinth to end this game if they want to get another pick, but instead they're going to go for all 3 birds, when just a couple of minutes ago, there was still a tier 1 in this lane, in this left lane.
Yeah, and I really like this call. It's not the flashy one, but it's the safe one. Ibba has ult, EmojiDaddy has ult. It's going to be a really rough Titan tank without their full team there. Leslord and Teddy are so low HP, and I like this re-engage.
He's not
low.
But
Teddy sustains so much.
Oh my goodness, Teddy had no
risky.
health. This is very risky, but it's very risky for Indiana Jones. They needed to go ahead and stay back here. They have no Phoenixes, but there's 5 members of Labyrinth. Sorry, one was just almost in the wall right there. Vamana spooked me out. I didn't even see him there for a second. Look, wow.
Yeah, and I mean, if I'm Labyrinth, I'm going straight to the EFG. I don't think there's anything else on the map I would even consider doing.
Yeah, just go ahead and back EFG. You guys, I don't know how much is in pocket right now, but it has got to be a lot. They were all there. Let's see here, golden pocket is in that thing. No, it's just gold per minute.
Kleena has 4,000, so finally gonna spend some. But I mean, they don't even have to attack this fire giant. They just have to keep Indiana Jones there. Indiana Jones probably don't want to let them have an enhanced fire giant with this much of a gold lead. But now they got fire minions in all the waves. The longer they keep Indiana Jones here, the easier the game's going to get to win.
Titans are being attacked.
Exactly. I wouldn't want to drop this fire giant right away. You just kind of want to keep them here as long as you can.
Titan now hits for multiple targets at the same time. It can do that. So there is a good chance that this Titan will be able to fight back for a little bit.
Someone needs to back.
Someone has to back here. I think that Labyrinth is missing an opportunity to take a fight here. They should be pushing in and saying, no backing. Already down to quarter health is this Titan against 1 wave, and there's 2 more waves pushing in from mid and the left side. This should be a free fire giant for Labyrinth. Everyone backing off from Indiana Jones because they couldn't take that fight fast enough. They should have taken that fight a lot faster if they wanted the opportunity to not lose their Titan and maybe get a win in the fight.
Yeah, but now Labyrinth, I mean, they've been put in a pretty hard to lose spot. I'm not going to say impossible because Indiana Jones, they've shown a lot of skill this set. They've been really, really strong, even behind early. They've managed to come back a few different times, but they're in a rough spot. They're still about a little bit less than a minute and a half on Fenix respawn. There's fire minions on all the wave. There's enhanced fire giants. If I'm Labyrinth, you don't even need to wait for the full team. You can literally just walk into that Titan and kill it.
Yeah, you might want to get at least 1 or 2 picks, especially on the major targets being Poseidon. If he can land a big Kraken, this could swing this game in 1 second. But if you can pick him and make him use his Kraken or make him use his main abilities, then there's no chance here for, Indiana Jones to defend. You have massive ultimates being on every side of this game, and Ao Kuang can melt a Titan within 2 seconds. So if Labyrinth can walk in here, I mean, everyone kind of tauntingly backing here, acting like giving it some time. Doing the Titan dance, which is a very rare dance that we don't see very often in the current meta. But a pick coming out, I mean, Ibba just gone. Waxy Moon will land, and they're going to walk into the Titan room. Is Labyrinth. Kokolin going to try to box out 3 players, but will get blown up by Teddy himself. The Titans at quarter health will get killed by a Colossal Fury Vamana, and Labyrinth will take game 1.
Had us a little bit scared there in the mid game, but a strong early game and an even stronger late game is going to propel Labyrinth to the game 1 victory. I mean, I really thought Indiana Jones had the comeback there. Both teams played so well inside of that game.
Yeah, it was like a wave almost. We had a lot of water gods in this game, Poseidon and Hubwa. It was very flowing. It was flowing very unusually because at one point, Indiana Jones never really had a very dominant lead, but they for sure had a position where they could have taken that lead and just flown with it. But instead, Labyrinth has the early game, and then they lose the middle game, and then they take back the late game in dominating fashion. But let's put our eyes to these freaking numbers, and we can already see one that we're gonna have to comment on. 20 and 3 from Teddy 522 and 16 wards. That guy just owned that map.
Even more important, I mean, yeah, just the damage, but as much as we concentrated on the Ao Kuang that game, there's a lot of other things to highlight. I mean, 30,000 damage on Chang'e is pretty hard to do, especially in a game like this where you're playing somebody like Indiana Jones, who at every turn of the map had really strong answers to everything. On the flip side, nearly 40,000 damage from EmojiDaddy, who, despite the kill death ratio, looked really, really good that game. Overall, I don't think there was a single poor performance that game.
Yeah, I last question before we move on to the next game, because there is a game two of this set. Uh, what could have Indiana Jones done? I don't know if it was picks and bans. I kind of feel like possibly the Zoats on the Sylvanas did not bring as much as he probably wished it did, while Leslord on the Fenrir was able to bring a lot of chaos and a lot of picks for his team. Maybe they go for something a little more aggressive on the side of Indiana Jones in the support role, and that might help them out a little bit. What do you think?
I personally think the place they lost the game is on that failed Fenix push. It was a great idea. We recognize they probably have the advantage, but they got a little bit sloppy. They left somebody over and right. They
Mm.
didn't attack when they were still backing. I think they were not necessarily too patient, but definitely missed an opportunity. And from there, it just kind of allowed Labyrinth not only to establish a map lead again, but they kind of had momentum rolling their direction. And I don't think Indiana Jones ever recovered. That being said, I think I agree. Going into this next picks and bans, it's going to be two really different looking team comps.
It should be. I hope so. I'm guessing that's what they're talking about right now in the comms. But we will be right back with game two of Labyrinth versus Indiana Jones as Labyrinth has a 1-0 lead. And we will see you in a couple minutes. Hello and welcome back to match two of Labyrinth versus Indiana Jones. We have a little bit of a switch up on the sides. You have Indiana Jones on the left hand side now and Labyrinth on the right hand side. But do you want to go ahead and say it for me, KingFsher? What's the ban right there?
The good ban, the only ban they should have gone with first, and it's Yao Kwang, and it's a smart ban to get rid of that for Teddy. I mean, one of the best gods in the game right now in jungle, and especially coming off that strong performance. I like it, but I think that performance, as much as it was the pick, Teddy was all over the map. His rotations were great. He picked really good fights. I don't know if banning one god is going to do anything to slow him down.
There's a lot of big gods in this match right now in this game. You have Mercury who can hit crits like no else. You have Thanatos who can bring a lot of chaos in the early game and the mid game, just like on Ao Kuang. You know, you have the Kronos right there who just got banned. We're also still just banning mage ADCs, but we just kind of add in Ao Kuang. You know, but speaking of mage ADCs, you know, Indiana Jones says we'll go ahead and take one in the soul.
Yep, and not going to be as much anonymity as last time. That one's pretty clear cut to which role it goes to. And speaking of that, as much as I liked the draft from Labyrinth, I think they played it really well. They really were ahead for most of the game. I'd like to see them get a comp with a little bit more team synergy. A lot of those fights literally started out as Leslord diving a mile in front of his team, getting a good ultimate, and then trusting that to follow up. I think there needs to be a little bit more cohesion because on the flip side, Indiana Jones is going to be ready for that style of play. It's a Fenrir again, which is good, and now it's going to be a Neja instead of the Ao Kuang.
Yeah, Neja, obviously, great pick. Very strong in the current meta. I was just speaking about Mercury, kind of for the same reasons. Just besides, Neja can still build that penetration build while hitting for 800 hit crits, especially if you just build Deathbringer. Me and Anthony casted a game literally a couple days ago from the SDL where a Neja had just Deathbringer. That was the only crit item they had, and they were hitting 1.8 and like 2.3k crits onto buffs. That means that probably gods are still getting hit pretty darn hard when they go up into that big ultimate.
Yeah, I mean, Neja can do some absolutely insane damage when they're built right. The Sylvanas, again, I think you identified last game,
Mm-hmm.
Sylvanas maybe wasn't right for their team comp. That being said, I think Zoats looked really, really confident on this pick. I don't think it looked downright bad. I think I would just like to see them center their draft a little bit more around it. Sylvanas can absolutely carry games if you allow him to. Oh, and Agni going to be a really good way. Those heat
Mm.
bombs are going to land super easily off of all Sylvanas' CC. I really like that mid pick.
Yeah, if your favorite shape is circle, I mean, that's your team right there. You got Soul with a big circle from her. What's it called? To the second one, Sonic Flare, correct, or something like that. I think that's what it's called.
I
Yeah, you
could
got
not.
Supernova. Obviously, Supernova is a lot of big little circles. Then you got
Combustion? Is it combustion? Stellar burst.
Stellar Burst. There
Wow.
you go.
Okay, I'm not
Thank you
even
very
close
much,
to
Anthony. By the
not
way,
even close to correct.
yeah, Anthony's on
Oh,
our spectator right now. I haven't even shouted him out yet, but thank you to Anthony. Scylla, another circle, Crush, and a big I'm a Monster getting pulled out. I think that that's a really good answer to the Agni because Agni can get stopped in his literal flames right by a Scylla.
yeah, and I do like seeing the Scylla pick as well. I think it pairs really, really well with Fenrir. I mean, last game, Chang'e, like we said, not the highest damage in the world, not a ton to follow up. Fenrir, you stand in place and you let Scylla absolutely delete them. It's a really classic combo, one that's been good for a long time, especially given how good that Leslord played that Fenrir. I think it's going to be really well this game. But I think
Then
more on the Agni,
yeah.
just the range over the Hebo he had last game mid is definitely going to be a lane to watch. I feel like it was a little quiet game one, but should have much more of an impact in this one.
Yeah, two very well known, mid lane gods right here with Scylla and Agni. And they're also making our job a lot easier. No questions here. No questions whatsoever about where
Gotta
those
love
gods
it.
are going. I mean, watch them pull out the Agni mid, the Agni support and the Sylvanas mid or something. But we're assuming that this is going to be a Scylla mid and an Agni mid. And then we're going to see Lycon on the Fenrir again, which is a great idea. He did very well last game, was able to pull out a lot of gods from very strong
Aw.
points. Kali? Wait.
And forget about what we said about knowing where everyone's going.
Yeah.
I
Naja
mean,
Solo? Naja ADC?
I I don't know. I feel like if the Kali,
Oh,
okay, they're not going with it. It's gonna be a Ymir. Okay, well, where on earth does the
smart pick.
Ymir go?
I
Is this gonna be a Ymir jungle?
I might be, yeah. I mean, Teddy was great on the Ao Kuang, and obviously Ymir does not replicate much of what Ao Kuang
Oh,
does. But a big, old, wonderful looking snake is here now.
ooh,
Jormungandr is going to be, we don't know exactly where, probably in the Soul Lane, we would
yeah,
assume. But obviously, Jormungandr, great god for mobility as far as that humongous ultimate can come out of the ground and do a lot of damage as well as escape. But I mean, that's a great pick, not only for that reason, but what does a lot of Labyrinth's team have? Beads burners. They are, look at that. That is so many. And Jormungandr does not get touched by much of any of that. He can't get picked up by Fenrir. That's impossible. He's rooted to the ground. You can't get taken up by Ja. I mean, imagine taking up a Jormungandr into this guy, ripping him out of the ground.
that'd
Uh,
be funny.
yeah, it would be very unusual for the map. The entire map would blow up. But he can get frozen by Ymir. Obviously, he can get stunned by, rooted by Scylla. So there's still CC that can hit him, but not to the big gods can get him anymore.
Yeah, and I do gotta say, I I kind of like this draft from Indiana Jones. I have one major glaring problem. They do not have enough physical damage.
Oh my goodness, you're
They
so
only
right.
have Pele, and I mean, granted, I think Ibba played very well on the Pele. We saw a lot of really good kills and a lot of good spacing too in the team fights. Never was really one of the first to go down. I think that's always important with the jungler. That being said, I don't see a possibility where Pele does enough damage to make up for the rest of that draft.
We didn't. I don't think we saw it last game. So
Is that a Tsukuyomi ADC?
I believe it's either that or the Ja, right? So it's either Suki solo, Ymir jungle, Fenrir support. Wait, Fenrir
I
jungle.
was yeah, I was gonna say I'm just assuming that they're the same roles they were last game.
Yeah, so it's Fenrir jungle, Ymir. Okay, yeah, so that would be Perspective Duck, who was on the Soul last game. No, on the
Clean.
Cleodana. Cleana.
Yep. But
Um,
now I think that we have the roles figured out, we're gonna have to wait in game to see what they're all able to do. So we're gonna see you back there for game number 2. See if Indiana Jones is able to push it to a game 3.
Hello and welcome back to game number 2. We are on the battlefield of the gods, and the gods that have been selected are very different than last game, but some of the same. We can see that Teddy is on the Fenrir now, which used to be on his teammate Leslord. Leslord is now on Ymir, which will bring a lot of CC to his team, as well as a very large wall that does not let many of the gods on the opposing team get over it. Actually, none of them, because none of them have jumps.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I love the Ymir pickup here. Not only because, like you said, it traps people. They have a Jormungandr on their team, the only member of Indiana Jones that I can see properly diving the backline. is going to be Ibba. And like we said, there's probably not going to be a lot of physical damage this game. It's a very magic heavy draft. Having such good CC as the Ymir does, also innately tanky, going to be a really, really good counter to that. It doesn't matter if it's the only physical damage, though. It's got the only kill on the board as Lycon is going to fall first.
Yeah, Ibba gonna come in here with a bang and actually be able to get the first kill onto the Scylla. Lycon, unlucky for him, was in an unlucky position, it seems like, in mid. But yes, to comment back onto, the Fenrir's here now. It's in mid lane. It's not in the dual lane, creating chaos. Once again, though, Indiana Jones will take a, a Bastion 1 minute and 20 seconds into the game. Which is quite fast to get, I believe, 45, or if you split it with someone else, I believe it's 30 or 20 gold per each.
Yeah, somewhere around there, but I mean, really good lane pressure, and that's to be expected coming from a Sylvanas Soul. They all do a really good amount of damage. Now Teddy, great jump over the wall, saves his life. That was really close to first blood and good double stun from Ymir, but I think second Bastion gonna fall as well. Everything going wrong for the Labyrinth duo lane.
Yeah, Labyrinth would love to be able to, bring this back in, reel it back in, and maybe get some pressure. But you're not gonna really get much pressure when you're up against, as you just said, a Sylvanas and a Soul. But in the mid lane, Ibba now level 3, Teddy half health. Ibba just hiding around the wall, getting this farm if he can. And then obviously this Jormungandr, the big sneaky snake, that actually in this game is a goose, making a very annoying sound that goes. That's what it sounds like. Do you guys hear me? Was that how a goose sounds like? I don't know.
A very good recreation. I have been hissed at by many geese on my college campus, so I would know the sound better than most. Those things are mean, dude. Just walk right by and they hate you. That being said, one other interesting thing about the Jormungandr, it looks like they're building damage. I know in past seasons when we saw Guardian solo laners really take hold at the end of Season 9, we would see a build kind of similar to that where they would go, what was it called, Pythagorean's piece first item,
Yeah.
then build defense. I'd be interested to see if this is a full damage Jormungandr, because it could really help the Pele on the dive, which I think we've already identified could be a potential problem of that Indiana Jones draft.
Yeah, it could be. Always potentially. I would hope he would go a little bit defense because otherwise it will be very hard for his team to bring as much, chaos to the team fights and be able to escape and stuff like that. EmojiDaddy currently down to about 20 health, trying to defeat a green buff that will get him level 5, but the tower says, "I'll help you out, buddy. Don't worry about it." Jormungandr not going the starting item of Golden Arrow. What's it called? Is that the
I believe it's
one
not
that
Ornate
Soul
Arrow.
has? The one that Soul has. Can
Yeah,
you remember that for me real quick? Gilded Arrow. Thank you.
Gilded
Sorry.
Arrow. Okay.
I've a lot of years playing Smite and a lot of items. So Gilded Arrow. That is a very typical thing for Jormungandr to get, considering his basic attacks can deal massive amount of damage once he gets it. But Contagion does basically the same thing, just with his abilities.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta keep in mind scouting grounds for the casters too. We haven't studied up on all our item names yet. Wecci gonna get stunned, could be big damage. Good Fenrir stun, able to find the kill before the separate happens. So Wecci gonna fall as well. Teddy with his first kills, and both junglers the good starts. Oh, bye Scylla.
Sentinel did not save Scylla there. It actually killed her. Very unlucky dash coming from her. She thought she was tricking out the wonderful EmojiDaddy, but EmojiDaddy said, "You can't trick me. I'm gonna follow you," and then drop a bomb out of the air that just blows you up. So good kill coming out from the Agni there, but another kill possibly coming out from Ibba and the left side of here, but ult will be used by Tsukiyomi, and he will land both his 1 and his 2. EmojiDaddy getting another kill in the mid lane, and I'm a Monster will land right on top of his head for the punishment, but the punishment allows him to walk away. So he gets a kill and walks away. EmojiDaddy coming out with a great start here as a 2-0 mid laner.
Yeah, and that was some serious return damage from the Scylla. Definitely something to look out for a later game. I mean, gonna be absolutely able to punish those picks. But now we're going to see a pretty even spread across the map. Last game, early game, it was really Teddy that was flying all around the map, getting a ton of early kills, applying pressure. It's a really even game right now. The junglers have not had as large of an impact as they did game 1, but I don't think we can really jump to that conclusion yet. It's only 5 minutes in.
Yeah, we can't really jump to that, but you see the Ymir and the Sylvanas are building very differently. We have, again, the Prothetic Cloak, and then we also have the Gauntlet of Thieves on the Ymir. In my opinion, This is a Gauntlet of Thebes that is required in this game because of how much damage Indiana Jones is going to be pumping out. They really need that. They also obviously could use the Pathetic Cloak as well on the side of Labyrinth, but what is your opinion as far as that goes with this exact matchup?
I definitely think in this scenario that Gauntlet of Thebes is a lot better. Like you said, I mean, Ymir's build path can be pretty simple because of all the magic damage. It's something it feels like we're saying a whole lot, but I think it's because it's a big concern. But now Lycon in trouble with Ibba in the mid lane.
Oh,
Pele not able to find the kill though. And BeanSoupBob gets one in the solo lane. Labyrinth looking good now.
Labyrinth came right back and said, "We're going to punish you. You know, this is not your game only." And we're once again not in the same game as last game. This is a very different game. You have a tie game, which in the last game, this was almost immediately almost a 3K lead going the way of Labyrinth. Indiana Jones not letting that happen this time. But if Labyrinth keeps getting these kills and keeps creating these opportunities, and BeanSoupBob maybe souls Gormigander again, they might be able to pull that lead forward again. Oh, well, Zoats going to get almost picked out here, going to get picked up by Ragnarok, and a Ymir ultimate will try to secure this kill, but instead he lands one of the biggest ultimates of his life, but it will not do enough to save his own life as BeanSoupBob comes in the mid, will land the sash onto the Agni, but Agni has his flame dash, which will get him away as of right now, but will not get him away from a Sikkim as well as a big old crush from Lycon on the Scylla. Once again, Labyrinth pulling away at 7 minutes into the game, just like they did in the previous one.
Yeah, and a really good job there from Labyrinth. And Lycon, I think we talked about him a little bit last game on how good he was doing, is the Goose gets a solo kill onto BeanSoupBob. A little bit of revenge there. Is now Indiana Jones with a pretty good response. And I think we talked about wanting to see the Jormungandr build a little bit of defense, still going into damage. Starting a second book. Is that maybe going to be Tablet of Destinies? I don't see him building anything else quite this early.
Wow, if he goes Tablet of Destinies as well, that would be very awesome. Imagine him going Polynomicon. That would be really weird. But probably not Soul Reaver either. So, oh, wow. Okay, Brutalize going to come out and kill Wecci in the left side of the map. Ibba is here looking for the trade onto the Tsukuyomi, but will get stunned out as of right now, but will get the kill onto Perspective Duck, who will say goodbye on the current map. Ragnarok will pick up the Fenrir. We come down to a very small amount of health, and Teddy will come out with a win. Probably thanks to his life steal, as well as the claw shard that we are hovering right now being used by Pele. Not able to save her life, but almost got the kill.
Yeah, very close indeed. Good attempted turnaround there from Ibba. Unfortunately for him, though, Teddy is going to live 4 kills now, but only a level up onto the Pele, who already has 2 deaths. I think that just kind of speaks to the lack of farm around the map. It's very different from last season. Obviously, with that big lead, Teddy's still not able to find quite as much around the jungle as they normally would. But now, I think objectives were a pretty big topic for us early on. We saw the Pyromancer fall extremely early. Gold Fury wasn't too far behind. Do you think there's going to be a bigger focus on objectives this game, given to how more balanced the team comps are?
I don't know. I would hope that there would be more fights where there are more people there, but once again, the Goose is creating chaos for this job, but someone's here to help them as well. Ibba will secure the kill, not just a Goose trying to solo, a little prince on wheels. Ibba still here, and Fenrir sitting in the left side of jungle. Teddy, our previous Al Kwong, creating possibly some problems, but Flame Boy in mid here, Agni, might be able to create a kill onto the Scylla if his Ymir backs off, but no, we actually have the meetup between these two once again. Ibba not able to get his ultimate out in time, and Teddy will secure another kill with his Brutalize onto Ibba. Poor Ibba not able to do what he needs to there. But back to your point, objective. I mean, yes and no, but remember last game at I don't know if it was 7 minutes or 8 minutes, Labyrinth went for a Gold Fury and got it. It was very quick. I don't see that in this game as of right now, but it might be team fights around those objectives for sure.
Yeah, and I think it definitely is worth mentioning that in this game, Indiana Jones do have a more typical ADC, so definitely could see some increased pressure towards it. I think I agree with you, though. We didn't see as much pressure early game. I think it was a 7-minute mark last time. That being said, kills still a very big focus for Labyrinth. And Teddy has 5 already. Fenrir, an extremely tough god to deal with in the jungle, getting 80 physical power from Seething Howl. Uh-oh, might find a 6th kill.
He will not find it as of just yet. They're actually going to turn around and say, nah, beads being used by Wecci to try to not have this kill happen. He will actually get the kill and try to lifesteal enough health off of Zoats to not die, and he does. And now the previous Fenrir is in the lane where the new Fenrir is, and will try to get Zoats to back off of his friend, and he does. So now this is a support dual lane 1v1 matchup. And there was also a pick coming out. There was another pick here, wasn't there? Yeah, solo kill. Yeah, so that would be a Jormungandr getting a kill onto the Ja. Again, this Goose is causing problems. He's level 12 while his enemy the best name in this game, BeanSoupBob, going 1-3 and now building some protections. And you were correct, by the way. That is a tablet right there, KingFsher.
Ooh, gotta say, it feels good to call that one. And that, I mean, it's an interesting take from Jormungandr. Granted, full damage Jorm can be really, really scary sometimes, just the sheer numbers that he puts out. So I'm really going to be looking towards Zoats to be that main tank for his team, and he's going to be spread out for sure. It's going to be really hard work against a Tsukiyomi and a Fenrir and a Neja. So many picks, but the first pick might be on the Perspective Duck.
Perspective Duck going to go down very quickly as 3 members of Indiana Jones are here, but now they must run away as there is a large Ragnarok dog just chasing every one of them down, hitting basic attacks for over probably 300 damage at this point. That was absolutely crazy from our friend Teddy on the previous Ao Kuang, really showing dominantly here with 10,000 damage, as you can see on the left side of your screen over there, standing at 8-0. He once again is 0 deaths, but Labyrinth says, we're going to go ahead and pull this thanks to our friend Teddy. Gold Fairy down to half health going the way of Labyrinth, and there is no members of Indiana Jones around here, so here's your first objective that we were talking about, KingFsher.
Yeah, and I think it's a good call not to try to contest. Agni maybe could have slid over, but honestly, this early on, I wouldn't think it would be worth it. Now Snoozism going to get some pressure on the right side of the map. So I'm interested to see where Indiana Jones are going to turn to. I mean, Teddy already a big problem. Can Scylla escape for the time being? Yes.
Really well done Aegis right there by Scylla. Lycon able to immune 2 bombs, which is very rare. Considering an Agni can really spread out his bomb as he wants to. Snoozism over here still bullying the Ja. Ja forced to ultimate, but Pele says, I can follow you as well with my ultimate. Goose has to get off of this because there is no help coming from the rest of Indiana Jones. But the Neja is free to get away right now, but that's not seeming like the truth in that lane in general. 1v1 over here in the dual lane, trying to box each other. A Tsukiyomi versus a Soul, not something you see every single day. Caltrops being dropped to slow down the Soul. No chance for her to go anywhere with it. Let's talk about this Jormungandr because it's obviously a much bigger problem than we were even expecting in the previous lobby. Only standing at 1-1, but is dominating that lane. But hold that thought for 1 second. We have a Beads Age being used by EmojiDaddy, forced to use Wave, but now 3 members of Indiana Jones are over here and ready to fight against Teddy. But Teddy will jump away through tower. A great thing about Fenrir is that he has a really good jump and a really long range jump that got him away from all that trouble being at the enemy red buff. Jormungandr, woo! You know, that's a scary god right now, and he's currently level 14. What do you do if you are Labyrinth dealing with that Jormungandr?
I think honestly, just really good communication in the team fights is going to be key. We've already identified really high damage, getting a lot of pressure in the solo lane. Not going to be tanky, especially against picks like the Scylla. I definitely see that becoming a top target for Lycon. I mean, Jormungandr, not that mobile, should be a theoretically easy target with the Crush and the I'm a Monster. Now, he might be the target IbbaWasTaken on the backside of that tower looking for an engage. Not going to find a good one, though.
Not Indiana Jones' best idea right here to go ahead and try to take an engage. They probably should go ahead and back off. Their health is not at the same position right now as Labyrinth. Ymir obviously down to about a quarter or about half of his health left. But he doesn't really care. He's looking for this Pele freeze, which he might be able to hit, and he misses it. Unlucky, gets knocked up instead. But 3 members of Labyrinth are here to take on the dashing Pele. Pele not able to get away from that large Brutalized, thanks to Teddy. Brutalized getting the kill, as well as now Soul in a whole position, forced to use Aegis as well as Desaparate. Desaparate might be able to get her out for the time being, but not for too much longer, as Brutalized once again secures a second kill. Zoats in the mid lane, playing a record, making these people dipping and diving. 3 people trying to hit him, but none were able to hit him until Leslord came on with a big freeze. 20 health was able to kill him very easy. But I gotta wonder what his ADC and mid were doing there, saying, I was missing on purpose. I was missing on purpose. I promise.
Just want to give a little bit of farm to the support. I mean, why not spread the love around when you can afford to? Labyrinth with a really good series of engagements all across the map. Now, Snoozism was the only remaining member, but they're not going to go for any objective yet. Don't turn to Pyromancer either. Still looking for kills, and they might have found one. Onto the Snake. I don't know why Snoozism didn't channel the ultimate there to get away.
He could have. That's too obvious. And Ibba once again getting caught out by this big brutalize from Teddy, and it will get that kill. If he did not help from BeanSoupBob there, it probably would have not been a kill, because that Pele is lifestealing a ton now thanks to the good old item called Bloodforge and Serrated Edge. Not going a crit build, instead going a lifesteal build is this Pele. But away from this Pele, you have a Teddy 522 trying to get a kill into an Agni, and Agni will drop a bomb from the sky to get the kill, but Lycon will get the trade right back to him. A couple minutes ago, we were watching this happen in this lane. It's happening again. Age is being used by Soul, but will not be enough to get away from Perspective Duck on his Tsukiyomi. 2 kills, 4 kills currently on the map, but 2 kills being done back-to-back on different sides of the map. Teddy being down is a really bad sign for Labyrinth, but Labyrinth says, we can go ahead and just pull this Gold Fairy, and then they say, no, we can't.
Yeah, I mean that's smart with the Sylvanas hanging close. Doesn't have any damage built. But with the Neja solo, definitely the smart option to kind of let it go by the wayside. And on the other side of the map, they do pick up the Pyromancer, and with that goes a Pyromancer bomb, so a lot better pressure on objectives. I think, like you said, with that Pele building lifesteal, I know we were talking in the break about wanting to see some crit, maybe make up for the fact that they're the only physical damage. Lifesteal is going to do the same thing. They're going to be able to survive a lot longer. We've already identified how important it's going to be for Ibba this game, but now he's on the left side looking for a kill. Effective Duck lines the stun, though.
Yeah, we need to get this kill right now, Ibba, very quickly, because that's a very scary god. Yes, you will end up getting it thanks to your lifesteal again. It will sustain a lot longer. Snoozism will go under the ground while Agni pushes forward to try to get damage on 3 of the characters. Jump will be down on the Fenrir, and there's the ultimate we wanted to happen last time. But in the backline, we have Neja taking someone up to the skies and trying to get a kill. Crush and ultimate coming out from the Scylla, but Scylla will not land the ultimate and be able to reset it. Instead, they will pay for their sins by sacrificing their champion Ymir Leslord to the enemy gods called Indiana Jones. Really doing well right now to defend and use their ultimates very well, especially this Agni. We're seeing EmojiDaddy doing big ultimates instead of what he did last game with the Hebo Crushes. Ooh, and a big pull coming out from Zoats, really well done, but it was onto a Soul Laner Neja, who is not taking much damage from any of this, but now down to a quarter health, as Ibba is going to try to pressure him out as well himself. Finds Wecci in the jungle. Ultimate will come out from Tsukiyomi onto 2 targets, being the 2 tanks, and will get the kill onto Zoats, as well as Teddy is now in this fight and is loving what he is seeing. 3 characters all almost dead, but Supernova being used by Wecci to secure a kill instead and melt him down from all of his health to absolutely nothing. Wecci now finds himself into a bad position, able to use his beads to try to get out of that. Will be taken up to the sky as he will have to come down into 3 members of Labyrinth, and easy Sikkim and kill for Scylla. Really intense fight there. We have 4 down on the side of Indiana Jones and only 2 down on the side of Labyrinth. I believe that one of them was a delayed kill, but really well done there by Labyrinth to get so many kills.
Yeah, I mean, that fight does end up favoring Labyrinth in the tail end there. I don't really know if that fight favored anyone there. That was just a long fight for really no benefit. I mean, they're not going to find any pressure onto towers, onto objectives. I guess they do come out a little bit ahead in gold, now up about 1,500. But I mean, that was more time waster than anything, but both teams do get to show off a little bit. Good old and relic uses out of both teams probably keep that going a lot longer than it should have been. But I'm still looking at the Fenrir. 12-2, obviously feeling really good on this map. But on the flip side, Indiana Jones, they did a lot more than that fight to limit that Fenrir than they have in the past, especially on that Alquang. Just allowed to kind of free cast, but they did end up shutting the wolf down. Now Primal Fury going to be on the table. We're going to see if Indiana Jones choose to step up to it, but it doesn't look like it.
Labyrinth is here alone, and no one's there to challenge them. Ymir putting up a wall to make sure that nothing happens. I'm very surprised to not see. Oh, I already see it. There it is. Sylvanas, if you could hover that item for me, the shell being grabbed by the Sylvanas, which is a great idea. Ymir wall is one of the worst things to have to deal with, and that Phantom Shell will allow them to walk right through that wall, and is always the correct thing to get.
Yeah, and I think adding on to that, the walls from Leslord, honestly, everything from Leslord this game has looked really good. I think arguably had more of an impact on the Fenrir, but Ymir, especially late game, can cause all kinds of problems for Indiana Jones, so they're gonna have to be careful. And it's another book item here for Snoozism. I wonder if we're finally gonna see the Polynomicon, or if this is a Soul Reaver from the Goose. Guess just have to wait and see. I still don't know if I'm a fan of the build, but that being said, Jormungandr's been spreading himself around the map a lot. We've already talked about the pressure they establish in right, just how well can they translate it, and they're looking to go on Leslord here. Ymir's a target for the Goose.
Yeah, Leslord found himself in a very bad position, but now the Goose finds himself in a maybe even worse position, as Teddy was in right behind the entirety of Indiana Jones, and they had no idea about it. Snoozing down to about half of his health, as well as Zoats having to use that Phantom Shell right now to try to get
Great
out
use.
of the great use to get out of that entire thing. Would have been a kill onto Zoats, but instead he will survive and pull in the Ymir to try and secure a kill, and a big I'm a Monster coming in to hit Zoats. But instead, Wecci will get the first blood straight on to the Ymir, and then they will trade support. Snoozem will go down as well without using his ultimate. Ibba in the backline will secure a kill onto Lycon, as well as Teddy will secure a triple kill straight onto Wecci. And we now have a quadra kill coming from Teddy522, who is looking for that penta. If he can get that Ibba kill, it will be a penta. He will not get it. Instead, it will be a triple kill in the way of Ibba. We have 2 players remaining, and Ibba will get a quadra kill in response. A quadra kill going both ways of the junglers here. Wow. What a fight. The last person standing is the Ibba with a quadra kill, but great play right there by Teddy as well. Quadra kills for both jungles.
I mean, how about that? That's pretty awesome. I thought Teddy was going to get it, but unfortunately the team not able to pile on enough damage. The sustain coming from Ibba, I'm also really surprised he hasn't opted to upgrade that Jotuns into the glyph. Obviously, when you drop below, I think it's 40% health, gives you lifesteal and some damage, I believe, so definitely would synergize with the kit, but still yet to be seen. But now I think Labyrinth, despite losing some members there, they still have the advantage on this map. It looks like they're a lot more complete. They've had a lot more pressure. Do you think they're going to look towards Fire Giant soon, or are we going to see the same thing as last game, where it's a more fight-styled team? Because that's what we've been seeing so far, but I don't think this favors it as much as last game's comp.
Yeah, we keep commenting back on the fact that they actually have ADCs this time. Well, at least on the side of Indiana Jones, they have an ADC and Wecci. So you would hope so, right? We would pray and hope that they would go ahead and start to focus more on these objectives. Basically, the golden XP are the exact same, but 5 members of Labyrinth are all on the right side of the map right now around this Fire Giant. Going to go ahead and take this T1 from the wonderful Goose himself, as Zoats is running away from all 3 members of Labyrinth that are chasing him out. Labyrinth looking to go ahead and start this Fire Giant. 1 member of Indiana Jones being Wecci all the way on the left side of the map, which means that this is a 5v4, almost a 5v3, and Zoats finds himself into a bad position with no beads, with 5 members of Labyrinth just absolutely using every single ability. A full range ultimate coming out from Neja will land straight on to Ibba. Ibba out of this fight already. Someone just got a quadra kill, is now out of this fight. 2 members gone from Indiana Jones. It is now a 3v5, but 3 members of Labyrinth are down to about half of their health. Woo! Wecci is split pushing in the left side of the map. Teddy is going to be there way too late, but Snake is going to go underneath the ground and use his big ultimate that allows him to go everywhere on the map, but also will not be in this fight anymore. Only Agni alone, 1v4, trying to take out at least 2 members of Labyrinth before he goes down, but instead will not go down whatsoever. Snoozism will come back in and get a pick onto Lycon and find himself in a rough position around 3 enemies of Labyrinth, and only 1 member of Labyrinth is actually down, and only 3 members of the entirety of Indiana Jones stands, only 2 members of Indiana Jones stand. Wecci still over on the left side of the map, 1v1ing Teddy, who also has lifesteal against a lifesteal ADC. He may want to take this fight, or he may not, but we'll see what he can do, because it's going to be a tough one for him to win. Brutalize is going to be on to Wecci, as well as Ragnarok being used, but will not be enough to secure a desaparating Wecci, who actually got that left Fenix for Indiana Jones. but also got a kill now. So no one's getting Fire Giant. This is not an objective game, as we were just trying to talk about. This is totally just a fighting game.
I mean, yeah, and it's another big messy fight like the one we had in mid a few minutes ago. And again, Labyrinth comes out on top. That's got to be really worrying for Indiana Jones. I mean, I think twice now they've gotten kind of caught out to start a fight and kept it going for a little bit too long. End up getting a left Phoenix, so a good bit of pressure there. But still, I think they want to clean up these team fights and maybe play a little bit more coherently in order to come away with the advantage. That being said, Labyrinth, they win the fight. They don't find a whole ton off of it. But I do want to point out one glaring issue I think I found in Indiana Jones' build, specifically on Zoats. With that prophetic cloak, those of you who don't know, you need 300 protections of each type in order to get the damage mitigation. And the items he's going are very, very low in defense. 25 each from the Wingblade and the Lotus Sickle, depending on what starter upgrade he goes for Sentinels, might not reach his full limit.
He's only hitting 200 as of right now. Whenever he heals himself, he's getting the Lotus hit,
Lotus
the Lotus
protection,
tick, yeah, the Lotus protections, but he's only going up to 200, which means he is nowhere even close. If you have 600 protections, I believe another item scales pretty well with that one, but we're not going to talk about that right now because you're finding Ymir down to literally no health, but he does not have Prophetic Cloak. He has the good old Gauntlet of Thieves, but will not save him this time as Ibba will blink in and get the free kill onto him. Finding themselves in a bad position is this Labyrinth team, but they will find themselves into a better position as Teddy will jump in and get Flame Wave to his death after getting a kill. Pele using the ultimate onto Scylla, who will Sentinel away, and then Perspective Vet will be punished instead by Ibba as the Scylla ran away. Agni will try to 1v1 a Scylla who Aegis right there, but will get the kill. EmojiDaddy with a double kill, going on to, I believe, the jungle and the mid laner. BeanSoupBob is currently running away from a little goose. Not a little one, a big goose that will bite KingFsher at his college campus, but will cause chaos for the Jaw if he ends up taking the fight. So this is the objective. This is the one. This is what Indiana Jones really needed. They wanted to go ahead and get an objective, and they got 4 picks, and then this is what they have to do. But Neja will be here and ready to take on the Agni with his big bombs. But will actually be distracted by the Agni as Sol and Jormungandr get this Fire Giant for their team, and Neja finds himself in a horrible position and will be picked. BeanSoupBob will go down on Labyrinth as he will be staggered. 52 seconds until he comes back up. There are 4 members of Labyrinth that will be up in time to defend a Phoenix on the left-hand side of the map as Indiana Jones has all 5 members up. What do you do if you're Labyrinth in this situation?
I don't think there's much you can do here but sit back and defend. I mean, that's a really good play all around from Indiana Jones. They're able to find a couple kills. They find the Fire Giant as well. If I were them, I would be marching straight to that left-hand side. It's definitely going to be a difficult fight to take, but you have the man advantage for one of the first times in this game, and to be foolish not to use it. And I do think we have to mandate all casters going forward have to call Jormungandr the Goose, because it's way too funny to hear in conversation. Now trying to finish that build out with full damage. Looks like going into an Ob Shard here, or maybe Spear the Magus. Keep forgetting, Spear the Magus now builds off of the spell focus tree and percent pen.
Yeah, it would be really good on him as well with the lifesteal that he would be able to stack with Soul Gem. You forget how many times
oh my gosh!
Goodness, what just happened to Teddy?
You know, maybe the full damage Yorm is okay.
Yeah, it might be okay. Hopefully, you know, if you need someone else to tank this Phoenix, you have no one else because he can take a couple shots. But that's about it. I mean, you have a Pele with Protector of the Jungle. Teddy found himself into a rough position, but is able to use that jump once again to get out of the face of danger. But yes, they are doing exactly what you said, which is look for this left side of the map. Ibba will split push mid and try to get this tower down, and he will give more gold to his teammates that they probably don't really need as of right now. But going in is this squishy goose who will land a big 2 onto the Ja, who is very tanky instead. Found himself in a horrible position is this Ymir trying to fight as Ibba will be picked in mid by Teddy. This is a usual thing that has been happening a lot of this game. Neja will miss his ultimate onto his big target being the Soul, but instead it does not even matter because Labyrinth have done a great job defending their middle Phoenix here because no one is even close to it right now. They got the left Phoenix, but now we have bad trades coming on the way of Labyrinth. A death coming out from Teddy, who was just very dominant in that playstyle of Sentinel being used, as well as BeanSoupBob getting out of this fight. Really good fight by Labyrinth. The split push by Ibba was a very questionable call. He probably should have been with the rest of his team if he wanted to win on that left side of the map, but instead he gets picked by Teddy, who has been dominant in both this game and last game.
Yeah, and as much as that push didn't work out for Indiana Jones, I think they played it very well. They were patient going in, allowing Snoozism to kind of whittle down the enemy HP bars, waited until the Fenrir was back near the Titan to make that push. So they did it right. It just didn't turn out exactly how they had envisioned it. And Jormungandr opts for a Divine Ruin last item. I think that's probably smart. The lifesteal on the enemy team can be scary, especially with Fenrir's Searing Howl. Don't think that's the name, but it's close enough, so we're gonna roll with it.
You got it, I think. Yeah, the lifesteal. Yeah, Searing Howl. You got it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
okay.
Let's go. Seething. You got it.
Close enough. I'm gonna take that as a win. Turns out casters are very smart. That being said, and now Sylvanas getting a lot more protection online, so probably a lot closer to that 300. Would definitely look for him to be a lot tankier now. But on the flip side, Leslord able to build into a damage item because of this team comp from Indiana Jones, something we were worried about, and I'd be really interested to see how the Ymir itemizes next and what he's able to do with it.
I think that's going to be a Chronos pendant. It would be very in his idea to do. It would be very good in his idea to probably do that. The more CC and the more abilities that he can bring to the table, it's probably not going to be like a Ratatouille or something like that. Just scale whatever non-damage you have as a Ymir, basically. Would not be a good idea, so it's probably going to be a Chronos pendant. But that being said...
Snooze is deep.
Oh, yes, he is very deep. But, he wants to go deeper. But now he probably wants to get out. A big hit onto the Scylla, but instead he will find the rest of his team right here in this little crutch point, finding a Ymir who is already down to a quarter of his health in a very rough position. Scylla will use I'm a Monster to land a humongous ultimate on the Wecci, but will not be able to secure the kill as Ring Toss will hit 3 members of Indiana Jones. Does little to no damage due to the fact that it's a full tank build on the Jaw. Tsukuyomi will land the stun onto Zoats, but will not do anything as Snoozism will land a big kill with the pull onto Tsukuyomi himself, and Teddy finds himself in Ragnarok trying to escape, but will not be able to escape as 2 members alone stand on the side of Labyrinth. Only these 2 members can defend their Titan. One will be going up into the sky right now with an enemy, but they will not be able to secure the kill, but they now will be able to secure the kill as EmojiDaddy will clean up the kill on to... Okay, Indiana Jones has 3 members standing up, and a KingFsher just killed Snooze, the big old goose, and Indiana Jones can walk into this Titan room. Is that
going to be the game?
They can end this game literally right now if they want to.
I like this call.
This is a great call. I mean, you've got 20 seconds till anyone's back up, and you have 2 of the highest damaging people in the game. Sylvanas going down to pretty low health before it's able... So Indiana Jones will take... That was such a quick end. They will take game 2 after a fight that Fire Giant was not even touched in, which means this matchup is a 1-to-1.
Yeah, that end really surprised me too. I mean, I knew they had all magical. I did not think the Titan would fall that fast, but Indiana Jones, they know their damage capabilities perfectly. They're able to end that one into a 1-1. What a great turnaround from game number 1. We really saw the team comp come together, everybody playing on the top of their games, and it pays off for them.
Yeah, that sickle from the Zoats might have actually saved his team because he was able to bring a lot in that last fight as far as healing his team and bringing... I think he got a big pull as well. So Zoats really brought himself back into this game. Once again, this is a 1-1, but I'm going to have to say I'm very sorry. That's the set. This is all these 2 teams played. As of right now, this is the SDL scouting grounds, which means that usually, we would play a 3rd game in this situation. But with 2 games being played, the captains have a lot to look at here and a lot of things to go ahead and pick from, which is what we're looking for. But as the season goes on, you will be seeing Ibba, you will be seeing Teddy, you'll be seeing these players again and again. And I want to ask you one last thing before we go ahead and call it for the day. Who in this lobby right here are you excited to see again? I'm excited to see all of them, of course, but there's probably some names that you're going to be excited to commentate on and cast in the future.
Yeah, and I mean, objectively, I think every single player here played extremely well. All of them should 100% make that godlike division. We didn't see a single bad performance. That being said, I think I'm really excited to see what Zoats brings. I mean, the KDA didn't look good this game or last necessarily, but those Sylvanas I thought had a really, really big impact both games. Certainly kept his team in a lot of fights, especially this one, being the only tank on the map, being able to contest with a really, really strong enemy team comp. Definitely excited to see what he can do with other picks besides a Sylvanas, maybe a little bit more traditional support, even something high up like a Yemoja. Should be really interesting to see what else is in his wheelhouse.
For sure. I think that Zoats is for sure one of those players that we want to keep an eye on. There's, of course, a lot of others in this game. Every godlike game last season was very interesting to watch. They pick a lot of weird guys, and we saw that in game one. A lot of weird picks that you don't see in your ranked matches or even in the lower divisions of the SDL. So in the future, we will be seeing more of these players, and I hope that you come around to go ahead and watch them. I want to give a big shout out to Anthony, our cameraman, and my chair to KingFsher. We're going to go ahead and sign off from this match. Thank you very much for watching.